Good morning, Mark. It's Friday about noon, and we're getting ready to work on our family boat build. So we've done a couple of weeks. We've concentrated on your boat. We haven't been on it every day, but we've been on it most days. So we're getting to the short, hopefully the short and end of the tunnel. And it seems to be a light at the end, and it does not seem to be a train. So what I wanted to do is go over everything we've done, both this go-around and in past go-arounds. So I'll try to point out which was which. Starting from the stern going to stem, I guess, instead of stem to stern. But at any rate, as you recall, we had plywood decks, and this back deck was badly duck-billed because of the fact that there were some frames. We actually added a frame under here. We'd done that previously. Added a frame and put spacers on this frame so that the new decks would lie fair and smooth. And so this go around we've installed the new decks. They have a thin plywood underlayment, marine plywood underlayment, and they are bedded down with 3M 5200. That's the white stuff you see shining through occasionally here. And so these decks will not move much lateral in width. The deck seams will be very stable. You shouldn't see having to repair the deck seams very often. Of course, some of the seams are fake. Every fourth seam is a real live seam, and then we have just slots and then a live seam again. The slots you never have to repair. The live seams you occasionally have to repair, but don't think you'll have to. We also had to raise the gas tank because the gas tank was also, when the cap went on, that was one of the other things that was pushing the old deck down. We added, I'm going to have to go around the other side, we added a spin-on fuel filter. The spin-on fuel filter also separates water. It's the little white canister you see down here, right behind my finger. And then we were able to reuse your original stainless steel straps and actually make them fit like they were supposed to, and then isolate them with rubber. Let's see. This go around, we've built the panels that'll be covered in the copper penny. So you got the panels, side panels in the aft cockpit. And you have the front panel in the aft cockpit. You remember the old one, of course, was delaminating and had had a hinged door in there, and then an exhaust pipe coming through this left-hand section to the left of the section we just removed. We've got that where that will remove for quick access to the transmission, and also the floor. There's a floor panel. We used two of the original floor panels. We had to make a new one in the middle. And the floor panel, of course, they're not fastened in because we don't have the copper penny on them yet. And we made a new floor panel to go in the center. We also raised the floor 1 inch. We did that so that we could avoid any problems with the exhaust. We added on this go-around another elbow, it's a 45-degree elbow, so that we would be able to turn this thing, have some clearance between your panels and the exhaust should you ever run out of water and your exhaust get hot. We've got clearance, and of course exhaust hose, which is the standard U.S. Coast Guard exhaust hose, back to and hooked up to your original exhaust pipe back here. Okay. This go around also we found and repaired a crack in the engine stringer right down here. In the previous pushes we added they're blue, we added our wedges so that we could adjust the engine up and down. We also had to dowel all the engine holes and move the engine about 1/4 inch to one side, to the side I'm on, so that it would line up with the prop shaft. Also on this go-around, we added a modern throttle cable to your carburetor. Got to tighten that jam. Okay, So, and new mounts, and also, now, it's a new cable, and this takes you away from the aircraft throttle, and takes you to using the throttle on your steering wheel. And you'll see down here, the part that's moving, that is the other end of your throttle cable. All your cables run behind these side panels that I was discussing earlier. You have two new side panels forward of the cockpit. Those were replacement of the old, so it's delaminated. I'm not even sure they were, no, I'd say they weren't even marine plywood. And the little strip of cloth you see stapled on there is just for us to get spacing for the dashboard, which I'll show you in a minute. Also in this last push, we did all the wiring. We ran the temperature gauge back to the engine. We've got our, hope I didn't turn the recorder off, no I didn't. We've got our fuse holders in there. And of course we've also got the front deck on. Andy's got the front deck on. So let's see, what else is new news here? Oh yeah, we took out, earlier we took out one of these frames. There was another frame that was right about here that went all the way across. So that'll get you some more tilt on your front seat. Oh yeah, let's see, we've hooked up new Coast Guard approved fuel line. We did that in an earlier push. The tachometer cable is now hooked back up. It's right here. Choke cable is now hooked back up, and I'm going to go around to the other side where we can see all these panels and so forth from the other side as well. So here's your new rear panels. I know that legroom was a concern, and we actually had to take an inch of legroom away so that an inch of length away so that you have so we can keep the exhaust pipe out of that compartment. However, I think without the exhaust pipe in that compartment, you're going to find that to be a good thing. All the wiring's in place for all the courtesy lights, all the speakers for your radio, all for the stern light, the bow light. Of course, we're not doing the spotlight again. You're going to have a separate spotlight. In an earlier push, we put in a new inlet hose. We put a three-way valve in so this can easily be flushed with a hose. Of course, the engine box was done in an earlier push. We've started landing wires on on your engine, on the starter, here's where your bulb for your temperature gauge goes in. It's a capillary tube type gauge. Here's our hookup for your coil, choke cables reinstalled, and like I say, everything's run behind these panels, and under the dash, so it's all hidden. So we're going to extend this. Yeah, we're going to, on the deck, we'll be cutting that, once we've got all the decks cured next week, we'll be cutting that. Well, probably won't do it next week because I think we've got ahead of you a month or so. But anyway, we'll have this to where this can be cut away. We don't cut it until after it's installed, because if you cut it before it's installed, then it's a real pain to get everything to line up. So this way it's much quicker. So we've still got, we've mounted the horn again to come out under the deck, under one of the deck fittings, right behind your ear. But at any rate, we still are having problems with the strut. The adjustable strut, we did determine that was on here, was actually installed. Well, here's some of the old here's the old panels. You can see where they were delaminated, and the strut is right here. The strut, it turned out when we started measuring for the new strut, we realized that the old strut was also installed backwards. So kind of interesting. So we've got a 6-week wait on the proper strut, proper adjustable strut. They have to, they actually have to cast it. So anyway, that's on order. And So I think with this progress that we've made here, let me get to where we can, we're getting to where I can predict a cost at the end, or a likely cost, because we just have finished work on the sides, finished work on the decks, and our strut, and this last section of deck to install, and then of course wrap these panels with the copper penny and install those, and just then test it, and this guy's about ready. So wanted to give you an update. We'll put photos on the web soon, but wanted to give you a quick video update. Oh yeah, here's your new dashboard. So of course we don't have the doors made for the glove boxes, but all the switches are identified, and so this guy's just about ready. We've got a little smoothing to do here, and this guy's just about ready for varnish. So lots of fun, safe flying, and we'll talk to you soon.